we're dealing with a Thanksgiving that's very different than last year. Costs have gone down with eggs, with milk, with bacon, with fresh veggies. This is the fourth cheapest Thanksgiving dinner as a percentage of average if you think about earnings. So things have changed. We're going to continue to try and make sure we lower costs. But again, we're coming out a very difficult, traumatic time.
This is the 411 with Jessica Washington, and today I'm on with White House Press Secretary and Route 100 honoree, Karine Jean-Pierre. Thank you for being here today. What is the most significant thing you think the administration has done for Black Americans?
We came in at a time where the economy was at a tailspin. And it was because of what we were seeing from this pandemic. And it was because of what this last administration, how they handled that pandemic. And this is a president that came in and wanted to make sure, as we were dealing with that things were done in an equitable way. And one of the first pieces of legislation that this president was able to pass and got done with the help with Democrats only in Congress was the American Rescue Plan, which to make sure that our schools were open, right? That small businesses were reopening. And that's what we were dealing with, right? Not just like thousands of lives dying a day, but also the economy, schools were closed, small businesses were closed, we're losing jobs. When the president walked in, unemployment was at 9.2% for Black Americans. It's now at 5.9%, which is a historic low. And that's because, again, what this president was able to do. 2.3 million more Black Americans are employed than when they were when the president took office, right? Very early on. You think about Black net worth, that is up 60%, right? $7 billion invested in HBCUs. Those are the real things that we can speak to that we have seen in the data that has helped the community and that the president has been able to do.
The Black Census Project just released their latest report which is the largest survey of Black Americans in the country. And while they were largely supportive of Biden and of Democrats, the number one concern was that wages aren't enough to feed their families, to support their families. So I think people know the numbers that the economy is getting better, but they don't necessarily feel that in their paychecks or in their day-to-day lives. How does the White House, how do you square that?
And we understand, right? This is a president that understands what the Black community is still going through, right? Coming out of this pandemic and dealing with this pandemic was incredibly difficult. One of the things that we are proud to see is that Black business ownership has more than doubled since the pandemic. And that's something that's important. And when we think about the importance of Black wealth, that's why we've taken the actions that we have, making sure that that we're creating wealth for Black families, right? And so all of these things are important, and lowering cost is one way to deal with that. Now, wages have gone up, but costs are still a little bit too high, which is why we do everything that we can to lower costs for the American people. And that's obviously including Black community. You think about going into Thanksgiving, we're dealing with a Thanksgiving that's very different than last year. Costs have gone down with eggs, with milk, with bacon, with fresh veggies. The cost of Thanksgiving dinner, as I just started to say, fell since last year. This is the fourth cheapest Thanksgiving dinner as a percentage of average if you think about earnings. So things have changed. We're going to continue to try and make sure we lower costs. But again, we're coming out a very difficult, traumatic time with the pandemic.